Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Ebony Peddler. Um, so I've had a few questions about when you want to take up resource gathering, um, and what are the key skills and championship point allocations that you want to be looking at. I have another video out there that discusses this, but I thought I would do one that gets into a little bit more detail. Um, so the first thing is you're spending the skills in your crafter. Obviously, as you're leveling up, you want to be mindful of stuff that's going to allow you to survive and do a little PvE content, get your experience, get to 50, and start generating the CP points. But from a crafting perspective, the skill that lights up the nodes is the first one. So you want to spend at least one in alchemy, blacksmithing, and clothing called kenai. Okay, I have extra points because I'm pretty high CP, and I had the extra skill points to spend. This allows me to see them from further away, but as soon as you put one in them, you'll start to see those things light up. And if you do your gathering, when the sun goes down, they stand out pretty clearly. If you're in the general vicinity, as you put more points in, you can see them from further away. It becomes very helpful, especially as you get going with your crafting runs. There are any number of variants of crafting runs. I just prefer to share some with you that work for me. Um, Alchemy, blacksmithing, clothing, all have these, and woodworking, right? Enchanting has one which I have just recently dumped a bunch of points into because I had extra. However, when I started off, I went multiple levels without putting any points in Kenai for enchanting because the runes already glow, and they stand out pretty well when you're traveling through the world, as most of you know. So that's the first thing there. Um, the second thing is, I wouldn't worry about it right off the bat, but once you get to a point where you've spent some championship points, the key thing, obviously everybody's got to build, and if you're a Nightblade, I recommend Alcast. Just do a search for Alcast online. You'll find his website. He has great builds out there, whether you want a PvP, PvE. The key thing from a crafting standpoint, though, is in this lover tree. So when you're resource gathering, this one has a few different nodes that you want to open up. I went as early as possible, but you want to spend your CP. Plentiful Harvest only requires 10 CP points. You'll get those in the first couple hours once you hit level 50. Plentiful Harvest gives you a 10% chance to double the yield from normal resource nodes. So when you're out there gathering, rather than getting 3 or just a couple, this is going to, and it does kick off pretty frequently. 10% is a pretty good shot. Sometimes you'll get 7 ore nodes. When you're farming rubidite. The alchemy, you'll double up. Instead of getting 1 lady smock, you're going to get 2. So Plentiful Harvest is one you can get right off the bat. Only 10 CP, that's not a whole lot. You'll find that once you hit level 50, those of you who haven't, the 10 championship points here comes pretty quick. So the second one is Master Gatherer. This is why you'll see in my videos, it takes 1 whack with the pick, 1 whack with the axe, and you gather. As some of you know, if you've started gathering levels 1 through 50, you're sitting there chopping away a couple of times, and then you get the resource. This is huge when it comes to being efficient when you're just out there strictly gathering resources or farming raw materials. And then the last one is kind of a minor one, but it increases your movement speed. What you're going to find once you get out there farming, it's very competitive, especially if you get to zones like Craglorn. But really all the zones have people gathering resource nodes. They sell, people make gold doing it, and it's the primary way I made millions and continue to make money um, even at this point. So once you've got um, your gathering build established, right? What you want to look at is what's going to make it most efficient for you when you're out there farming runs, and so it's all about speed, right? I just talked about the championship points and farming and stuff like that. You want to spend a few thousand gold and get yourself a cheap suit of gear that's going to give you a bonus when you're out there running. Okay? Now, what I've chosen to do is I just throw on Coward's gear. Coward's gear gives me a five set bonus, which gives me 30% movement speed all the time. So it's passive. I'm out there running. I'm moving 30% faster than the next guy. And that's huge for me when I'm out there gathering. It lets me get from node to node, and if I run past a node that's empty, I'm getting to the next one that much quicker. There are other sets out there. I think Prisoner's Gear, but pick your set. It's not expensive, as you can see here. If you look down over this Coward's Gear belt at the bottom on PC server, it's going for what, 1,300 gold, right? And that's similar for the rest of the pieces. They're all in that area, 2,000, 2,000. Um, so for about 10,000 gold, which you're going to find once you get to this level where you'll need it, it's a huge investment. Keep it on your inventory. That way, if you're out there and you decide you want to go farm, it only takes up 5 inventory slots. You can plug them right in and get off and running. So prior to that, the other skill I do have, because it also affects your mount speed, is huge. This is a ridiculous skill that is called charging maneuver. Once you morph it, right here. So what this does is it basically gives you a 30% movement speed. It's not cumulative on top of your Coward's gear, unfortunately, but it does affect your mounted speed. So once you get maxed out mounted speed, you're going to get 30% in addition to your full-on sprint from your mount, and it's huge, especially sometimes if you've been out there farming a little bit with any kind of regularity. You've had instances where you're going to run into a cluster of people running in the same area doing the same thing you are. Pop this off, jump on your mount, and take off and find your secondary crafting run. So those are the key ones I'd get. Now, to get charging maneuver, I almost forgot to tell you, this is in the alliance section of your skills. It's called rapid maneuver initially, and then once you morph it, you can pick whichever one. It doesn't take long to get. It opens up very early on, so even if PvP isn't your thing, it's not mine right now. I spent a little time there. You'll get it in no time at all. And it's just a huge boon when you're out there in the world. Okay. Now the other thing I want to talk about is, as far as crafting in general goes, right now when I'm in what I refer to as my honeypot. That is Batika. I have a video out there. The audio's not great. I'm gonna redo it with some better audio to just kind of talk through. This is where I made most of my money early on. It's hugely popular. All the starter zones are, and this is just where I made most of my money from resource gathering, and then you sell it on a guild vendor. But because of the fact that farming is so popular right now, you got to have alternates, right? And that's part of what my YouTube channel is about, is providing alternate crafting runs or resource gathering runs that have worked for me. Maybe you haven't thought to try them yet, or it's a new area that you haven't explored yet. So have alternates. You're going to come up with your own. I've got a few. For instance, I like to run from way shrine to way shrine. I head down the east side of this road. I'll come up in here. I have harvest maps, which is the add-on which opens up these nodes that float in world. And come up with your own runs. You can see I focus in mainly similar areas. I also go to Deshaun. I'll show you that. So I have a couple of videos up about Deshaun. I like to jump from way shrine to way shrine, and then I'll basically do runs from way shrine to way shrine. You can see my focus has all these nodes popped up, and there's all this empty area that I haven't gone to because these work for me. I go way shrine to way shrine, and then I'm jumping around. Because when you go way shrine to way shrine, if you haven't noticed yet, if you're in zone and you stay in zone, the load time is really quick. So I'll jump to one area. If I can get the run and it looks fully populated, I'll follow it right through to the next way shrine, jump to the other part of the zone, run that, jump back. Um, and it really works for me. But have alternates out there because this is hugely popular. In particular, once you get to Craglorn, you're going to find you fill this up pretty quick because you want to jump around and get comfortable with different areas. So don't put all your eggs in one basket, guys. Be flexible and be ready to roll when it gets populated in your area, especially if you're playing in prime time. You want to be able to move about. Um, in any event, thanks for checking this video out. Look for more. Feel free to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. I appreciate it. We'll see you next time.